The hell is that? I keep forgetting the name of that thing. The picture that you put on the video. I keep forgetting to change the thumbnail. Yeah, there we go. Thumbnail. But I'm just getting a little walk in. Getting a little walk in. Let's see if I can post a question on here. Give me something. Yeah, boom. That's my Q&A. See me live. I'm gonna put together a show. Even though I'm not at the top of the list for a lot of people and a lot of promoters and a lot of venues, I know how to perform, right? Not just go on the stage and sing my song and then go. Granted, I didn't have a lot of opportunities to get on stage to show, and now I'm so far away from a stage that I got to move. And with this move, I'm not doing it with anybody. The first time I had to move by myself, I was moving out of a place that I was staying with other people, and things just never took off the way that I imagined they would. But that's my plan, and then there's God's plan, right? So I can't I can't let it get to me too much, but it's gonna get to me because I'm passionate about my music. I'm passionate about performing. I'm passionate about what I've been doing my whole entire life. What have I been doing my whole entire life? Well, I've been trying to change the world. Since I was 9 years old, I've been trying to change the world. And it's not been easy. And it's still not easy. That's why I'm so proud of myself for not giving up because the artists that's in the game now, I already see their expiration date. They can't last the marathon. They run in sprints. And that's not to throw a jab at anybody because everybody has, you know, everybody has their journey that they're on. So I can't take away from their journey. I can only tell you about mine. And, you know, I know it's going to cost, and I'm willing to pay the price because I've always had to pay the price, sometimes extra, plus tax, while making half as much as the people that's, you know, able to do what they're doing. But comparison is a thief of joy. I'm doing what I can. I'm using what I have to get to where I need to go, to do what I need to do, to get done what I need to get done. And what I need to get done is to build a legit fan base of people that's willing to come out, buy some drinks. I don't know, you know, get some sections, tip your waiters, tip your promoters. I'm a tip the promoter. That's what the artist to do, you know, especially when you're working with somebody that takes it serious, somebody that takes music period serious, business serious. I understand it's, you know, it's a music business, yeah, but everybody that was so passionate about the music lost the passion for the music and just gained the passion for the business. When I wasn't making music and I wasn't able to get on stage and perform, I was learning the business while I was still writing my songs. So when I do get on stage, when I do get the opportunity, I'm gonna already have the business mindset of the music business, and then I can fully focus on music part of the music business. And while I was studying and building my knowledge on the business part of the music business, the connections that I had around me that was supposed to be there to help and to support me, it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, right? And that's why we are where we are now. And as I continue to be the best version of myself that I could be, and teaching the world to be the best version of themselves that they could be, and inspiring people in my lane and people that's ahead of my lane or ahead of me in the game. While I'm doing all of that, I'm not going to lose hope and I'm not going to lose faith that my time is coming or my time is now. And I just have to, you know, relax and just let it be and just get into that, what they call it now, flow state. You know, I'm just trying to be as best as I can be while I float like butterflies and sting like bees. We're going to fly like birds and we're going to nest in the trees. And every single one of them trees, we counting monies as the leaves. That ain't make no sense. I can't say that name, but I would say, what's up? I ain't even going to act like I know what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I know. And what I know is put my face out there, put myself out there, and just do it naked. Do it naked. Whether I'm independent or signed, that's neither here nor there. I think anybody that gets signed is able to get their deal and get out of their deal without having to risk their masters and risk their morals and all this, that, and the third. You just have to manage your money properly. And honestly, I feel like my Achilles heel is for the best, right? A lot of people have an Achilles heel. Some people they got all the money in the world, but they have no talent, so they don't ever reach anywhere, or they don't ever get to go far because their money can't take them so far. Like you can have $1 million, but if you have bad credit, the banks won't fuck with you. And you could also have $1 million in debt, but as long as you have good credit, the banks will continue to give you money. And that's why millionaires and billionaires, they try to tell you, well, I learned, but a lot of people didn't learn. Don't pay off your debts. And that's when I was talking about street credit. My street credit is good. I only have one plug that I owe, and I ain't never gonna forget. That's all the way back in Jersey from year. That was 10 plus years ago, and I still remember. But anybody else, I made sure that all my plugs was paid. Was paid. I made sure everybody that I dealt with in the streets was good. I didn't have no bad blood with nobody. That's why you don't see me watching my back. You shouldn't have to watch your back if you're not a bad person. But if you're around bad people, they can make you feel like you're a bad person. And then now you watching your back, you're thinking what's gonna happen. You got anxiety, you're impatient, and that ultimately slowly trickles you into a depression. And when you get into that depression, you start depressing all of your attributes, all of the things that make you you. You start depressing it and pushing it down, and you don't use yourself or your talents to its full potential. But I'm here to say, never let that be the case. Never let that be the case. It's been a while since I got on live and walked in the sun. I'm sweating in my I'm sweating in my fresh clothes. That's cool. I feel good. I feel like I feel better than what I was before then. I feel better than if I'm wearing sneakers and a sweater or some t-shirt or whatever. I feel better this way. And that's all that matters. As long as whatever you're doing, you feel good about it. You don't feel bad about doing what you're doing. Because I don't feel bad about my ambition. I don't feel bad about things that didn't work. Things that didn't work wasn't supposed to work. The things that we try to force, those are the things that don't work. That's why when they said something about the path of most resistance, it made me think, why would you go down the path of most resistance, right? When your whole soul and your whole body is, going against it and you still forcing yourself to do it. That's the quickest way to put yourself in that trickling depression. The quickest way to put yourself in a depression is doing whatever you're not comfortable doing and forcing yourself to do it. That's why I had to take a break and I had to stop and I had to say, what am I doing? Why am I got bored and started changing myself and adjusting to whatever the hell the naysayers and all this other shit was saying and was happening because things wasn't panning out the way that I planned. And I had to realize again, you know, just do what you're doing. Keep going where you're going because you're going the right way. And I would get all those signs when I'm trying to change myself because I got bored and anxious that things wasn't popping off when I wanted things to pop off. But I make sure and I keep in touch with the people that I know I want to work with or I feel would like to work with me. Because one thing's for sure, and everything else is for certain. My first day back on stage, whether it's an open mic or it's a legit actual show that I'm doing, I promise it ain't never gonna stop. Because not only are y'all gonna see it, but it's gonna be live streamed. Other promoters and other producers are gonna see it, and they're gonna see I'm not just a writer, I'm not just an artist, I'm also a performer. I'm also somebody that they can work with. I'm punctual, I'm on time, I can work with others, I can stay in my lane and do what I do and still add to the crew and still add to the team. They'll see that I'm a team player for real while I'm standing on my own island. We can all come together like the Caribbean islands, right? Every single Caribbean island is independent. We all got different independent days. But when you talk about the Caribbean, you're not talking about Trinidad. When you talk about the Caribbean, you're not talking about Jamaica, Barbados, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, right? Venezuela. You're not talking about those islands in individual. You're talking about every single one of those islands that are in themselves independent and individual. When you talk about America, you're not talking about Washington, you're not talking about Brooklyn or New York, you're talking about all 50 states or all 51 states, including Canada now, right? So when you're on a team, you got a photographer and a videographer, you got an artist, right? And you got somebody that's doing the online shit. You can have 2 to 3 people all doing separate things, existing as themselves, but then coming together and making something big, making something great. And that's what I was talking about when I said the best thing about having a beef is when both sides come together. Because when both sides come together, now you're not clashing, you're colliding. And now my fans is gonna listen to your music and they're gonna hear stuff that they didn't hear before because they was only rocking with me. And your fans is gonna hear my music and vice versa, right? And we come together and our fans can even be friends with each other. And that'll just continue to build bigger communities instead of having a society where it's one face, a bunch of people, and then they got a common enemy. We don't need a common enemy. Everybody in this world have one enemy, and that's the system. And when I talked about at midnight last night, we robbing Duncan's toy chest, it wasn't a literal thing. It was a figure of speech. I took a scene from Home Alone when the Sticky Bandits was talking about robbing Duncan's toy chest, and then Kevin came out of nowhere with the brick. We're Kevin. We got the brick, and these motherfuckers was stealing our shit. They was stealing the toys out of our toy chest. They was stealing our ideas. They was stealing our soul. They was stealing our source, our essence. Until we came in with the brick, and then we messed up that whole shit. You see, when I was talking about it, I didn't even, you know, I didn't get to the expansion that I just literally explained. But as I touch more on things and I expand more on ideas and I expand more on things, you get to that next level. You get to that next level of understanding. You get to where you weren't before, right? Before it was just, we crossing the rainbow bridge. Everybody hold hands, all children of all ages. And now I'm at the point where not only are we crossing the bridge, but we're the motherfuckers with the bricks that's disrupting the people that's stealing our essence, that's stealing our toys out of our toy chest, that's stealing our ideas, right? That's why I say of all ages, children of all ages, not just, you know, the ones that we deem children. Because if you're alive, even if you're 100 years old, you're still somebody's child. No matter how old you think you are, you're still somebody's child. You're somebody's baby. When they look at you, they don't see, oh, that's my 64-year-old daughter. Like, "Ah, that's my baby right there, right?" And I, that's how I feel when I talk about Mother Earth, when I talk about Mother Universe, when I say my prayers every day, throughout the day, in the evening, before I go lay my eyes, before I don't know if I'm gonna get up the next day, right? That's how I feel when I talk about the earth, when I talk about the animals, when I talk about my brothers and sisters, when I talk about the people that's out there spreading light, fighting on the side, going against darkness. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm the child of the earth, and Mother Universe is my mom, and the Heavenly Father is my father. And I always been feeling like that because I tell y'all, I didn't have that relationship with my father that everybody else had with their father. My father is, and has always been a teacher in my life, right? It was always tough love, and sometimes the love wasn't there, so it was just all tough. And from that experience, it built somebody that's solid. I might not have, you know, I might not have all the intimacy down packed because of the mother aspect of my life not being there, but I had to learn that from showing respect to the mother that I didn't have. I had to learn that from showing obedience to the women that I was raised around. I had to show that appreciation by learning from small that you can't, all life matters. Because I accidentally killed my grandfather's dog and he beat my ass for a long time. I know when I lost my virginity, I was 7 and he beat me for 10 minutes with a fucking swizzle stick. All my Caribbeans know what a swizzle stick is. We use that to make tea. But I got my ass whooped because I was right in front of my grandma's door, and my grandfather came out and saw. And the crazy thing is, I never thought about what happened to the girl, like my girlfriend. Like we kept in touch. We literally kept in touch, and we stayed friends for years after that, up until like probably my junior or senior year in high school. So that was a long time. So from we was small, right? We were supposed to be together forever, but it didn't turn out that way. And now seeing the people that's like, they've been in relationships with their lover for, their whole entire life. Those relationships, majority of them, they end up lasting the test of time. But a lot of people, they end up going their separate ways because women get bored for some great reason, and they feel like the only way to cure that boredom is to be a thought, or to be out there in the street, or to be that hoe over there. That's where the acronym thought came from. That hoe over there. Hell yeah, keep an eye on me. Subscribe. I'll be on here. I'll be on here as much as I can, letting y'all know what's the next moves, letting y'all know how y'all should move, letting y'all know what's going on in the system. I'm the example. So whatever happens to me, whatever I learn, it's like I'm not even trying to toot my own horn. But I'm just saying, when I learn something or when I get something from the realms above, I like to come and share it with the world. That's my way of doing my small part. That's my way of giving back. That's my way of paying it forward while I'm moving on and continuing to learn and get better and get stronger and get smarter and get more strategic. Strategy loves preparation and preparation loves victory. So if you take nothing from this, take that. Strategy loves preparation and preparation loves victory. So if you don't prepare to win, you're inadvertently preparing to fail. Even if your plans don't go, the way that you expect them to, keep making plans. Why would you stop making plans? Wasn't your plan to have a full plate? So whenever there's a whole bunch of shit on your plate, you got to get rid of it. Not to necessarily say you got to eat everything that's on your plate. You can share, you know, like if like if you just got bones, or you just got some raw liver, or you got some raw fish, you don't have to eat it. You can feed it to the cats, you can feed it to the dogs, you can feed it to the animals. And when you do that, you might feel like you're going hungry for a little bit, but as soon as you decide to give that food to nature, nature's gonna come back expeditiously and grant you blessings. But if you're not keen and if you're not continuously making plans, you're gonna miss those blessings. And then you also have people that come along, trying to bread from you and giving you false promises, right? They might say, "Oh, watch, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make this person feel so discouraged that they're never gonna want to do what they're doing again because they might see." And there's people that's watching. I had to realize that there's people that's been watching me because I ain't, you know, I'm not blocking my location or anything like that. So whenever I post something, it goes to every one of my platforms, and all of my platforms is all over social media, and all over social media is all on the internet. So no matter what I do, there's people that's been watching, right? And I don't even like to name names because I don't want to give people power, and I don't want them to feel like they're important. But I just want them to know that I appreciate everything, all the negative and all the bad people. They only line you up to get into, you know, they only line you up to get you into league with better people. That's why you got to continue, keep moving forward, right? And even though I'm not where I feel like I want to be, I know I'm exactly where I need to be. Because if so, I wouldn't be seeing so many people inspired by the things that I've done and said. Like I tell you, I'm an example. I'm the example. I asked the universe to use me, not misuse me. My relationships never work because I'm married to the earth. I'm married to Mother Earth and all the animals, my children. So a relationship with a human ain't never worked out. It's not supposed to. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing right now, being by myself, but I ain't never alone. And when I get on stage, I feel like that's my true home. Not just in my body and in my heart, but in front of the people, being able to being able to show them, you know, being able to show them not just my energy, but show them what I got, show them you know, what's really inside, what's inside my heart. So I'm gonna make that move. I ain't gonna tell y'all when. I ain't gonna tell y'all when. But when I make that move, hopefully I'm gonna be in a better environment so that I can better my energy can be better used instead of abused and taken for granted. And I think that's why I could bring this full circle, right? I always wanted to feel appreciated for being myself and being me. I had to watch other people get spoiled. I watched my sister get spoiled. I also got spoiled a little bit, but it was with discipline. People like my sister, they will look and see things getting done that's supposed to be done for me, and then she'll see like that's me being spoiled because my father helped me get some food or my father helped me pay my bills. But my father wouldn't have to help me do that if you wasn't charging your own brother, your own flesh and blood. Wow, you had everything properly there. You was able to do all the things that you wanted to do. There was nothing that she can't do. There's still nothing that she can't do. But she had to charge me. And that took everything that I could have used for my music, my promotion, my marketing. And now, you know, I'm doing what I can. That's why I got to build my fan base so that the people can help me get to the stage. So I'm just waiting on the stage. Well, I'm not waiting on the stage. I'm doing this right here. Doing this right here. I'm still on my Purple Moon campaign. The album is already, the album is done. The album is done. All I need now is to get my way so I can work with the producer. You know, I ain't gonna say too much about that. The album's done. Just know that. Just know the album is done. And all that anxiety and all that anxiousness for me to get out there and perform, I'm not gonna rush it. It's gonna happen when it happens, and I have to learn nothing happens outside of its time. Right? Nothing happens outside of its time. And when it happens, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna be focused. I ain't gonna be thinking about no female. I'm not gonna be thinking about what this guy or this girl is doing. I'm not gonna be thinking about what they want to happen in my life. Whatever they want to happen in my life is ultimately gonna happen in theirs. Because I had to learn that I can't curse anybody and expect to be blessed. Just like when that stuff is on your plate, and you stop making plans and you start getting on the defensive, the only thing that happens is you start having to defend. When you get on the defense, the only thing that happens is you keep defending. You keep having to defend. But this is all offense this year. It's all offense now. Yeah, I'm sweating. It's hot. We in Texas. Everybody's sweating in Texas. So I don't have to feel bad about me sweating when there's dudes out here with their shirts off because it's so fucking hot. I'm not gonna say that I'm never gonna be in a relationship or anything like that. But in order for that to happen, it's got to be. I won't even say it's got to be on my terms because I know my terms is is the Most High's terms. Mother Universe got to send me one of her daughters, and I know one of her daughters ain't gonna be the same as what I've experienced. Nothing in the past. I don't want nothing from my past or no female from my past to think that they have a chance now because they don't. You don't. I've never redated anybody that I was with before. I only know how to keep moving forward. And anybody that's been with me, they'll tell you the same thing. They can't never tell you we got back together. Once it's over, it's over. And that's why I have to focus so much on my goals, right? Because even though the relationships and all that other stuff never worked, the one thing that stayed true was the first thing that I started when I had nobody to talk to, when I had no friends. I had paper and I had a pen. When my father told me he didn't want to talk, he ain't got time to talk. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just playing stupid. I wrote all that down. Tears coming out my eyes. So much tears I couldn't even see the page. Writing so much, my hands sweating so much, the page gets so wet. I gotta flip to the next page or two more pages because all that sweat and tears done fall down on my page for years. I'm not just talking about one time, for years. All I ever had was a pen and a piece of paper, and I write my dreams on that piece of paper using that pen. And every relationship, everything that I tried to delve into or dabble with after that never worked. Even when I tell y'all I had a whole when you go and you buy print paper for your printer, that's how much poems that I wrote. And I gifted it to one of my girlfriends in school. And she lost that shit not a month, not even a month, you know? And that's the same girl I took her virginity. My sister was so mad at that relationship, always talking shit about it. And the thing is, right, I'm very loyal. I wouldn't let people talk shit about my sister, but I wouldn't let my sister talk shit about my girls neither. Like, we're not having that. We're not doing that. Me and my sister used to be like fucking Siamese twins. When we was in Trinidad, when we go to see our aunt, we went to the festival, the carnival. It was just me and my sister. Even the first year, the first 9 months, I remember it like it was yesterday. The first 9 months in this country, me and my sister was always together every weekend. We go to church. After church, we go to IHOP. After IHOP, I had to read the Bible. She had to read her book for 2 hours. And then after that, we went outside and we played, me and my sister. My sister didn't have friends. My sister had one friend. And when she had her party, nobody came. But I didn't see it as nobody came. I saw it as I'm here. We can have all the fun in the world. And so I made it fun for my sister. had started to forget myself and start getting caught up in being family and being family oriented and not thinking about me and what I need. Yeah, I need family, but I also need to have my own mind and I need to have my own ideas. I need to have my own freedom, not just trying to make everybody else free because I get caught up in that and I get trapped in freeing everybody else. And now I'm at the point where I'm trying to free myself. And the only way that I can get free is by being free. But the only way to stay free is to get on stage. Because I see I'm walking and talking. I got y'all walking with me. All this energy, it's infinite. I could walk for hours. I've been walking my whole entire life. I ain't gonna say never. I had a I had a Mercedes C class, old school, but I wasn't able to drive it. But that was the first car that I ever bought, and I had to sell it because my best friend passed, and I had to move. The house was too much, and my father convinced me, with all that stuff going on, me getting locked up, me going through this, going through that. Why you don't go and stay with your sister? That's when I moved to VA. If I never moved to VA, I would have never met Cam. And if I never met Cam, and I was never at that job at Wendy's, where all them customers telling me, "Yo, you sound like you should be on the radio. You make music, man. You sound like you should be on the radio. You got a nice voice. I like your voice." I don't even get to remember those things because I'm so caught up in what's next, or what I need to do, or what I need to have happen in order for my life to be great, in order for me to matter. I always, you know, I said I was going to bring this full circle. It's something about me and mattering. I know a lot of people out here just want to matter. You just want to mean something, not just to someone, but to people, to you, to the world. So you don't feel little, you don't feel small, you don't feel subjugated to a tiny room in the back. Or you don't feel subjugated to somebody else's rules or somebody else's policies or somebody else telling you how to live your life when you feel like you shouldn't be told or you shouldn't have to be told how to live your life or you shouldn't have rules placed upon your life and you should be able to do whatever it is that your heart's content instead of having to shrink or silence yourself because of outside noise. I know it's a lot of people on here like that. That's why I get on here and I speak because I'm one of you. They say that Lil Durk is the voice. They say that Lil Baby is the hero, but I'm the champion. I'm the champion for all the poor boys and girls that's trying to make their dreams a reality. I'm your champion because I decided that when I was 9 years old and I was turning 10 the next day and I was looking up to the sky in the evening, crying, thinking about my mom, I was wishing I wanted a bike more than I wanted a bike more than I wanted to live. And I saw a star shooting across the sky. I say shooting, but it was really traveling. It's never a shooting star. It's just a traveling star, and we just happen to see it when we see it. And those stars that's traveling, they grant wishes. And I made my wish. I wish for a bike so quick. I wish for a bike so fucking quick. I didn't even breathe before I made that wish. I probably didn't even say it right because I made the wish so quick. But all I wanted was a bike. And I woke up the next day on my birthday. I turned 10 years old. I was at my grandmother's house. I walked into the living room. It was a bike sitting right fucking there in front of the TV. I could cry right now thinking about it. I could see it. I could see it. It was the best day of my life. It was the best day of my life. I woke up on my birthday and the bike that I wished for the day before I got. Granted, I was asking my father for a bike. My father saw me riding my cousins and other people bike, running after everybody, not having my own. And he told me years later that, that hurt him because him seeing me running after all these people is like, well, he probably felt embarrassed because why everybody out here got a bike and everybody out here child got something, but your son is the only one that don't got no bike, right? And my dad's nickname was Batman, and they called me Bat Boy because I'm his son. So why Batman, why Batman's son don't have a bike, right? But then I got my bike. I rode that motherfucker. I rode that motherfucker till the wheels came off. Literally, the tube popped in the damn back, and back then $20 was like $100 now. So my father didn't have no $20 to give me to go and get a new tube. So what I did, I rode it on the rims. I rode it on the rims. I learned how to pop a wheelie, and when you learn how to pop a wheelie on a bike, it's like nothing else you need to learn. You've mastered riding a bicycle. Now, anytime in life you got a bike, you know how to ride that motherfucker because you popped a wheelie once. You could pop a wheelie one time in 50 years. Get on a bike after 50 years of popping that one wheelie, and you still remember how to ride that motherfucker. No training wheels. I never even had training wheels. I taught myself. My stepbrother had a bike before I had a bike because he had his father in his life while his mom and my father was dating and they was living with us. So I've always had to watch, you know, my siblings enjoy the things that my father couldn't get for me because they had other people, they had other help. Even today, a lot of people have two moms or two dads, while the actual child of the mother or father is only able to have that one parent. So speaking for myself, my father, when he would date other women, it was only two other women I ever seen my father date. So they had children, and their parents were in their life. Like my stepsister, she had her father in her life and her mother. So she had three parents. My stepbrother had his mother and his father and my father. He had three parents. And then when I was homeless, my father had an apartment in New York, right under the Brooklyn Bridge. It wasn't the richest area, but it was a more upscale area. And again, well, no, at that time, her father, the person I'm talking about, her father passed away. Shout out to her. And shout out to her mom, and shout out to her mom's mom, because her mom's mom was the one that gave my father the apartment that we was living in, because we was moving all over the place. And you know, she had moved to America, and she had the apartment, but everybody else was, everybody else was taken care of. So a blessing that my father and her daughter was best friends, because my father was blessed with the house. Now his children don't have to be worrying about going all over the place. The only thing that we had to worry about was when my father came to America to work for them 6 months, who was going to be taking care of us and where we were going to be staying. And while my stepmom was staying in the house, we still had to go to our aunt's house. I guess he didn't trust her to take care of his children. And hey, I understand my father is very, very, very protective. My father is very fucking protective. That's how I'm as protective as I am. You know, I remember getting into an argument with my sister over me telling her that the guy she was about to have a baby by was cheating on her. She had to learn the hard way. And other other instances and issues that's not my business, that's their business. But I was always there for my sister, like my father wanted me to be. And like I felt, I had a duty to my sister, because I saw my father take his responsibility for my sister the way he did, you know? So I was always there. These ain't one of the things that I want, you know, my neighbors to hear. Because like I said, not all your neighbors are good, even when they smile in your face. But that's neither here nor there. I was always and am always protective. That's why my loyalty is the way it is. I never saw my father be a player. I never saw my father. My father's a ladies' man. That's probably why so many women look at my father and they're attracted to him. They want to date him. They want to be with him, because my father ain't no bullshitter. My father don't play. One thing my father don't do is play. My father never had no video games. My father never smoked weed, drank like a motherfucking sailor. But once my father quit alcohol, that was it for me. I had a couple drinks when I was on, Instagram, and I showed y'all I was drinking them wine bottles. I forgot even where I got the wine bottles from, but I even stopped there. I ain't finished drinking all the wine bottles. But that was it. My father quit drinking. I quit drinking. My father never smoked, but my grandfather smoked. And my grandfather was a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. So, and I was always around my grandfather when he was smoking, because I was always at my grandma's house. My great grandmother is the place that I was staying at, and my grandfather is my great grandmother's son, and my great grandmother is my father's grandmother. So that right there is why, you know, I'm so much like my granny. I got my granny's soul in me. I got my mother's heart in me. I got my father's work ethic, and I'm also me. So I want to share that with the world. I want to keep sharing it with the world. I'm over here looking for an opportunity to get on stage. I'm on a platform right now. I got 3 likes. I got 1 view, and I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate y'all, because if it ain't for y'all, I would just be here talking to myself. And I honestly was talking to myself for a long time, until it got the eyes or it got the views of the people that want to see me. and want to experience me. I want to experience my energy, but I'm not the type of person to, push that in anybody's face. I never, well, I used to. When I was religious and I didn't smoke, boy, I was telling my friends you shouldn't smoke. Smoking is bad because that's what my father was telling me. Man, I graduated. It's Christmas. My friends came over. We ate. We hopped in the car. They had two doobies rolled. They were smoking. I'm in the back. They smoked the first one. I ain't hit nothing. It's like, yo, you want it? It's like, yo, take a hit. Yo, peer pressure, peer pressure. My friend Eric, he always used to say that shit. Like, when you act, you're trying to peer pressure somebody, but you're not actually using the term peer pressure. When he was trying to peer pressure somebody, he was always saying peer pressure, and that shit funny. It's hilarious, right? But it didn't work. But the second one, they was smoking, and I said, man, fuck it. They was like, word, yo, Trinity about to smoke. I fucking took a hit of that blunt. Well, it was a doobie, rolling paper. I took a hit, and then I took another hit. Man, when I tell y'all, you ever watch a TV show or a movie and it looked like, that's a bad analogy. You ever drop like a drip of water in a bucket and you see the ripples? That's exactly how my eyes was looking. I saw everything as if the whole world was in water and somebody just dropped a motherfucking drip of water in it and everything just started rippling, right? Or when it's a show or a movie and they're about to play a flashback. And then when they play in the flashback, everything just starts getting wavy. That's exactly how it looked. It was one of the best days. It was the most fun that we ever had. It was the most fun I ever had. I didn't feel angry. I didn't think about all the stress I was going through. I didn't think about how the hell I was getting to college. I didn't think about none of that shit. I was just excited. I was just happy. I felt free. I felt like I had nothing to worry about. And I felt safe, you know, because I never hung around with the bad crowd. Even if I hung around with the bad crowd, I never stayed around for too long. I always knew when it was time to leave. I always knew when it was time to get myself the fuck up out of there. I always knew when it was, time to not go, you know? And sometimes when I was drunk, because I was drinking, even before I smoked, I was drinking. And y'all know this. Talk about this all the time. I used to take the Minute Maid from the fridge and get the wine from the bottom of the sink, pour it in there, go to school. Me and my friend Jay Brad. Me and my friend Jay Brad would be lit. School just start. Motherfuckers drunk. We was lit like a motherfucker, and nobody knew that. That's what made it even more funny because everybody was wondering what the fuck is wrong with these niggas. It was like, yo, what is wrong with y'all? We like nothing. Yeah, we looking at each other, we laughing hard as shit, drinking a motherfucking Minute Man. Oh my god, man, those are the moments that I wish we had recorded. Because what? Post that shit on the internet, people will go crazy for that hilarious shit. And it's genuine and it's real. It's not like we planned to, this or that. I just came in one day. I don't even know how the hell we ended up like that. But I just came in one day and he asked me, he might have asked me for something, or I told him taste this, and he was like, "What is it?" Drank it. He was like, "Oh shit." And when you got to keep things on the low, guy code. You ain't, if it's an insider, you're not supposed to tell nobody that's outside. And man, it was just between me and him, and it was fucking hilarious. just making the day fun because school is not fun. Learning isn't fun. It's necessary. That's why I was saying about when you create that monster, the monster that you create for your survival is not easy. It's necessary. That's why it feels the way it feels when you have to be this hard shell. You have to be this dragon protecting its freaking plunder of gold. You have to see yourself as your own guardian. You know how they say nobody's coming to save you? You have to turn yourself into that necessary monster because it's necessary for your survival. If you don't turn into that monster, then you will become the monster that's destroying your life. Everything I say comes full circle. That's why I like to have y'all with me when I'm talking and I'm saying what I'm saying because if y'all seen my past videos and y'all keeping up with what I'm talking about, everything's just making sense one after the other. And y'all are seeing how I maneuvered and navigated a world that I'm not supposed to be in. I mean, I'm here legally, of course, but I wasn't supposed to be alive. My mother wasn't supposed to have another child. It was supposed to be one and done. But my mother wanted to. My mother wanted me. It's almost like I had to be here. Trust me, I go back and forth sometimes and wonder why she didn't just abort me because, like I said, I've been feeling like imposter syndrome because that FOMO, my fear of missing out on the outside, it was just me not realizing that the FOMO was me missing out on myself because all of the awesomeness that I am, all of the great things that I do for others, and all of the ways that I make people feel, I wasn't making myself feel like that. I was just worried about making other people feel like that. And then after I made other people feel like that, I was feeling empty because nobody was making me feel like that. And it got to a point where it was just expected for me to give up and to sacrifice for others. And it got to a point where I felt like, maybe that's my purpose. My purpose is just to be sacrificed. But when I got to that point, that's when I got delivered. Things started happening out of my control. And that's when I had to learn from my big homie in 2014. Yeah, you need to stop getting mad at shit you can't control. That's what he told me. That's what he said. My big homie Travis Vasquez, my big brother Jonathan Diaz, call him Junji. I'll never forget all my brothers, yo. They accepted me when I felt unappreciated and unaccepted. But if it wasn't for his sister, Tuti, Janice, me and her was friends. Me, her, Scano, and I forgot who else. We was always together. We was always cool, hanging out. And her brother seeing how I was, because my loyalty and the way that I'm protective and shit like that. So, he was appreciative because he was in the military. And while his sister was out there and his mom, there was, it was nobody out there really that was looking out for them. But when I became friends with her and we was all hanging out together, we became like a little family. And her brother saw that and he liked it. And I was invited. That's why I say, you know, I see them as elite. because that's exactly how the elite do it, right? They'll observe, they'll see how you move, they'll see if you're real and if you're just playing a role. And if you're actually real and you're not just playing a role and you could be who you are when you have nothing, you'll be the next one invited. So continue to hold your heart space, right? Because that's when you'll be invited. When you feel like you have nothing, but you keep in your dreams, you're keeping yourself, you're keeping your morals, you're keeping all the things that you love, and even while you have tears running down your face, you're still being kind to people and to nature that has nothing to do with you, and you're not expecting anything in return. That's when that bike that I wish for. I didn't know how the hell I was going to get a bike. My father told me he couldn't afford it. So I never expected to get a bike. I just saw a star and I wished for a bike. I wasn't, I never stole anybody's bike. I never, you know, never did none of that. I was always, I was always the kind, gentle soul, silent, quiet. My quietness didn't come from me wanting to be quiet. My quietness came from me not having or not getting what I wished for, or not getting what I asked for, having promises that were broken because there were more important things to take care of, like us eating. I remember sometimes we would only eat one piece of hot dog bread with peanut butter for breakfast, and then have to walk to school for a half hour. Me and my sister walking to school. We didn't have no car. We didn't have no public transportation. We had taxis, but that shit is expensive sometimes. My father couldn't afford it. Sometimes you know, his friends that have cars, he would pay them to take us to school or pick us up because it was raining. And we had raincoats, you know? I didn't I didn't know how I was gonna come to America. My great grandmother just said, you know, I'm going to the I'm going to the United States. I thought she was coming with me. She wasn't coming. She was protecting me from becoming evil. Because if I was in Trinidad for an extra month, I would have saw her pass away. And that would have broke my heart more than it did when I wasn't there to see it. And I promise you, I probably would have been a different person. Because what ended up happening, I ended up going on a journey searching for answers because my grandmother didn't do nothing to nobody. So why God take her? There's so many people in fucking Port of Spain that's still alive that deserve to die. But my grandmother was taken. I didn't understand religion after that. I hated church after that. I hated church. I didn't hate God, but he knew I hated him. I tried hard. I tried hard not to, but I needed to know why my grandmother was taken, why I had to be born with no mother and a father that I felt hated me. I never felt like I belonged, even in my family. That's why I was always outside trying to find friends. My father told me don't look for friends. So I ultimately ended up alone with nothing and no one. And that was my life. For years, I accepted that because I always got what I deserved. That's what I felt. Even when I didn't do wrong, I still find myself getting punished, telling the truth, and getting yelled at for telling the truth, and still getting punished because my sister said this and my stepbrother said that. So my father believed two people. Because it was two people, then I was automatically lying because why would both of them be lying, right? Well, they don't want to get beat by you. You're not his father, and you're her father, and she knows how strong you are and how hard you hit. And of course, I was always the wild one, but I was never disobedient. I only became disobedient after I kept getting beat and in trouble for things that my sister and my stepbrother was doing. I didn't even want to be around them. So when I got off from school and my father told me not to go outside, I went outside. My father came home from work, see me outside, ass whooping, ass whooping. But at least then I was getting beat for what the fuck I was doing. At least then I was getting in trouble for my own misbehavior. I wasn't getting in trouble because my stepbrother broke his own PlayStation and then I got blamed for it. My stepbrother broke the fucking toilet seat and then I got beat for it because we was all playing. But since they said that I did it, I got the most. I got the most. I always felt like the stepchild. That's why people can't phase me with the way that they act and the way that they try to deceive me. That shit don't work. I look at you like you stupid. I already experienced all that shit. I already healed from all that shit. You think you can come into my life and do the same shit that I healed from? So I stopped biting my lip. Every time I feel myself biting my lip, I know I got something to say, and I should say something. I used to get into so many fights because I didn't care, but I also cared. I didn't care about me. I cared about my mother. Like this dude on Instagram, he's a grown ass man, right? And he has to pay for his blue check to seem legit, but he ain't legit. Teaching people how to punch with weights. And I said, we all seen Rocky. He's like, ain't you too grown to be goofy? Or he said, aren't we too grown to be goofy? I said, speak for yourself, sir. Or whatever he said to me, I said, speak for yourself. And then I used that afterwards. He said some shit, and then he he said something about your mother would, and I'm like, I said something in humor. You use your feminine energy and your feminine feelings, I said you use your female feelings to respond, and now you're talking about my mother. I said bless you. I said bless you, sir, and that was it. I deleted the comment. I ain't saying nothing else after that because those type of things is why I have six different Instagram accounts. I don't have six Instagram accounts right now. I just had to have recreate, recreate, recreate because I was getting in my feelings and responding to people in the comments when they were sent to disrupt my energy, when they were purposefully trying to get my account taken down. They know who they are. I know who they are, and that's all okay. It was supposed to happen that way, and that's why now my Instagram can't grow past the amount of followers that I have now until I actually go in and I start paying for ads and all this shit so Instagram can see, my account is legit because I have a couple people that's reporting everything that I post. Like their job is to make sure I don't make it. Like every motherfucking every artist, every creator, every celebrity, they have somebody that's determined to take them down. I know y'all see it. Every artist, every celebrity that you like or you see, they have their own what do you call it? Nemesis, right? They have their own nemesis. Jay-Z has his nemesis. Beyonce have a whole bunch of nemesis. Jeezy have nemesis. Movado have nemesis. Vibes Cartel have nemesis, right? Will Smith have nemesis. Will Smith's nemesis is his fucking wife, you know? Because of his fame and his popularity, she's determined to tear him down. That's why she cut off all her hair because she feels she a man. She emasculating him. But I like that he's so strong within himself. And I watch his show every time it's on the History Channel. I put on his show and I binge watch it. And anybody else that's that's on this journey that has people that's trying to tear them down, I'm just here to tell y'all we're gonna continue to rise. We're gonna continue to rise. Let me show y'all the fit. Sweating, sweating out my shirt. I've been walking for a couple hours now, so I don't expect not to sweat. I don't care. I'm performing for my people. I'm performing for my four likes. WWE. I'm performing for y'all. But now we moving on up. And when I go, when I do a live show, I probably should have worded this Q&A better because I'm live right now. But what I really wanted to say is, y'all come and see me live performing, not live on YouTube, not live at the index card. So we're gonna just go with it. Shout out to Adam Sandler. We live at the index card. But I want to say I appreciate y'all just for hanging in there with me. It's been over an hour. Y'all been tapping in and tapping out. I appreciate y'all coming back. You know, there's a lot of people on live. There's a lot of people talking. I see Dane Calloway got his live right now. I'm about to hop on there and see what he got going on, see what he's talking about. That's my brother from another mother. We all got the same heart, fighting for the same cause. We might not be from the same place. I might not be like him. I might be from the West Indies. I'm West Indian, he American Indian, but we all Indian, and we all fighting for the same cause. So I appreciate all my brothers and sisters that's out there making content, doing what they're doing, living their life. Because this is exactly what we were supposed to do when we were small, right? And they asked us what we wanted to be. Celebrity. I always wanted to be so rich that I can't even spend the money in this lifetime. I always wanted to be so rich for 50 or 100 fucking lifetimes, right? That was my goal since I was a small child, not having nothing but watching TV and seeing all these rich people, watching Richie Rich. I think after I saw Richie Rich, that's when I wanted to be rich. And that movie is old boy. And I'm glad that I never let life stop me. You know, my father didn't teach me about girls, but the one thing he taught me, not to get nobody pregnant. And I'm glad that I don't have no children right now because I'm married to Mother Earth and all the animals is my children. And I feel I feel a responsibility to the animals and to the earth and to the children of earth. I don't feel like I need to be tied down or in a relationship with just one person, just trying to make them love me the way that I feel like I deserve to be loved. I'd rather be alone. But even when I'm alone, I'm not by myself because I got my angels and my mother, and I got all the animals, and I got Mother Earth, Mother Universe. I got my Heavenly Father and my Heavenly Mother. I got everything I need. So I'm going to use everything that I have, and I appreciate these four lights that I got. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Y'all know that I love y'all. I don't have to keep saying that shit because when I come on here and I show y'all my face and I tell y'all what I tell y'all and I give y'all a piece of me, that's the love. I only know how to experience. I only know how to express my love. I can show it better than I can tell it. I can show you better than I can tell you. Yo, oh, I'm off that in Maine. RCYPROJECT. And another motherfucker in the rap game harder than me. I go hard and get it in like a porn star. Follow my moves, you want to make it to the top. I'm on star for newborn stars. Even when the camera stop, I'm $100 million movie, hand on my cock. Big homie from the back block. When you first learn how to slap box, did you ever learn how to dribble the pill or to handle the block? Bring it back, rock. Number one rule if you ask hip hop, don't chat about to the matlock. Death before dishonor, I'ma honor the code they created. Number two rule, and it might sound rude, but yup, fuck you, pay me. I paid my pain. I lost my partner to the bullshit. Still trying to hold on to my religion, so I put a couple diamonds in the corpses. Close your eyes, see the darkness. I swear it's like where I'm from. No lawyers, no doctors. So either I go to harder, so I could just call this a night. A dark night, I'm like Heath Ledger. A dark night, so I can sleep better. Even if I overdose on drugs, motherfuckers can't kill my buzz. Wait, I ain't done. I'm a freestylist, Cali, let it run. What's the hardest county in the yo? Cause I'ma go harder than they go. I'ma go harder than Baltimore. Philly gonna say you can't touch the ball. Where you at, Duval? I'ma go harder than you all. Harder than New York. Turn the Pro Tunes in the booth off. I'ma go harder than Yago. And Yago hard. That's big, bro. Put some more beat on that joint. If they could, they would get rid of me. But what they gonna do when the nigga gotta go hard? Because they know already, nigga, I'ma go hard. If you was on spread and seed, you would never let another nigga step in your yard. But it's in my veins and it gets to my heart. So I will, I got to go hard. You ain't got no other way to live, and you got to go hard. I'm getting it in until the end. I gotta go, 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 go hard.